Have you ever wondered why some people panic when someone pulls away in a relationship, while others shut down the moment things start getting too close? Maybe you tell yourself you are just bad at relationships. Maybe you keep choosing people who hurt you, ignore you, or make you feel invisible. Or maybe love feels confusing because one part of you wants closeness so badly, while another part wants to run the second someone gets too near. What if I told you that a lot of this started long before your first relationship, long before your first heartbreak? The scary part is that most people never even realize it. Your childhood quietly teaches your nervous system what love feels like. And as an adult, you replay those lessons without noticing. You do not choose love only with your mind. You choose it with old emotional memories your body has carried for years. When you were a child, your brain was learning something every single day. It was learning whether the world felt safe or unsafe. It was learning whether your feelings mattered. It was learning what happened when you cried, when you needed comfort, or when you made mistakes. Think about a little child falling down and scraping their knee. One parent rushes over, hugs the child, and says, "You are okay, I am here." Another parent says, "Stop crying, you are being dramatic." A different parent ignores the child completely because they are busy or emotionally distant. And another parent becomes angry because the crying is annoying to them. To an adult, these moments may seem small. But to a child, these moments become emotional instructions about love. The child who was comforted learns, "When I am hurting, people stay with me." The child who was ignored learns, "My feelings are too much." The child who was criticized learns, "Love disappears when I have needs." And these lessons do not stay in childhood. They quietly follow you into adult relationships. This is where attachment theory comes in. Attachment theory is a psychology idea that explains how your early relationships shape the way you connect with people later in life. In simple words, your childhood teaches your brain how to expect love to work. Your brain is always trying to protect you, especially when it comes to emotional pain. So if love once felt unstable, cold, unpredictable, or unsafe, your nervous system starts preparing for that kind of love again and again. Your nervous system is the part of your body that controls your stress, emotions, and sense of safety. It remembers emotional experiences even when your conscious mind forgets them. That is why some people become anxious in relationships. They overthink texts. They panic when someone takes longer to reply. They need constant reassurance, not because they are weak or dramatic, but because somewhere deep inside, their younger self learned that love could disappear at any moment. Imagine a child whose parent was loving one day and distant the next. The child never knew what version of the parent they would get. So the child became hyperalert. Hyperalert means your brain stays on high watch for signs of danger or rejection. As an adult, that same person may become extremely sensitive to small changes. A shorter text message feels scary. A quiet tone feels threatening. A delayed response feels like abandonment. Abandonment is the deep fear that someone will leave you emotionally or physically. The person may tell themselves, "I know I am overreacting," but their body does not feel safe. Their nervous system learned long ago that closeness can disappear suddenly. Then there are people who move in the opposite direction. Instead of clinging tightly to love, they pull away from it. Maybe they struggle to open up emotionally. Maybe they shut down during conflict. Maybe they feel trapped when someone gets too close. This often happens when a child grows up learning that emotions are not welcome. Maybe their family avoided feelings completely. Maybe vulnerability was mocked. Vulnerability means showing your real emotions and emotional needs. Imagine a little boy crying after a hard day at school and hearing, "Toughen up, stop being so sensitive." Or imagine a little girl trying to talk about her feelings and constantly being ignored. Eventually, those children learn something painful. They learn that needing people feels unsafe, so they become emotionally independent too early. As adults, they may look calm and strong on the outside, but deep down, closeness can feel uncomfortable because their brain connects emotional intimacy with disappointment, shame, or pressure. Emotional intimacy means feeling emotionally close, understood, and connected to someone. This is why two people can love each other and still struggle deeply. One person fears being abandoned. The other fears losing freedom or emotional safety. One chases, the other withdraws, and both people often blame themselves without realizing their childhood patterns are running the show. But here is something important to understand. Your childhood does not only shape your romantic relationships, it shapes the relationship you have with yourself. If you grew up feeling constantly criticized, you may become your own harshest critic. You may feel like nothing you do is ever enough. Maybe you achieve something amazing, but instead of feeling proud, your mind immediately says, "You could have done better." That inner voice usually did not appear from nowhere. It was learned. Children naturally absorb the emotional tone around them. If love felt conditional, meaning you only received approval when you behaved perfectly, your brain may connect worthiness with performance. So, as an adult, you may become a people pleaser. People pleaser is someone who constantly tries to make others happy, often while ignoring their own needs. You may say yes when you want to say no. You may fear disappointing people. You may overgive in relationships hoping it will make you lovable. And the painful part is that many people do not even notice they are doing it. It feels normal because survival patterns often feel familiar. Familiar does not always mean healthy. It just means your brain recognizes it. This is also why people sometimes feel strangely attracted to emotionally unavailable partners. Emotionally unavailable means someone who struggles to give consistent emotional closeness or connection. Logically, you may know the relationship is painful, but emotionally, it feels familiar. And familiarity can feel like chemistry. Think about someone who grew up constantly trying to earn a parent's love and attention. As an adult, they may unconsciously chase partners who are distant or hard to reach. Part of them hopes this time they can finally win the love they could not fully receive as a child. It is not because they enjoy pain. It is because unresolved emotional wounds often search for resolution. Your brain keeps trying to rewrite old stories. There is also something called emotional regulation. Emotional regulation means your ability to handle feelings without becoming completely overwhelmed. Children learn emotional regulation through relationships. Calm parent helps teach a child how to calm down. A safe environment teaches the child that emotions can move through without danger. But if a child grows up around chaos, yelling, unpredictability, or emotional neglect, their nervous system may stay stuck in survival mode. Emotional neglect means your emotional needs were ignored or unsupported, and survival mode changes how you experience love. Some people become extremely reactive during conflict because their body feels danger immediately. Even small disagreements can feel terrifying because their nervous system remembers old emotional chaos. Other people disconnect completely during arguments. Their brain shuts emotions down because that once helped them survive emotionally. This is why healing is not only about thinking positively. Healing also involves teaching your nervous system that safety is possible now, and this takes time. A lot of people become frustrated with themselves during healing. They say things like, "Why am I still triggered?" Or, "Why do I keep repeating the same patterns?" A trigger is an emotional reaction that activates old pain or fear. But healing is not about never getting triggered again. Healing is about slowly becoming aware of what your reactions are trying to protect. For example, imagine your partner forgets to call you one night. You suddenly feel intense panic and sadness. Instead of attacking yourself for being too emotional, you pause and ask, "What does this feeling remind me of?" Maybe deep down, it reminds your nervous system of being emotionally forgotten as a child. Awareness changes everything. Because once you can see the pattern, you stop believing the pattern is your identity. You are not crazy. You are not too needy. You are not cold. Many of your reactions once had a purpose. Children are incredibly adaptive. Adaptive means able to adjust in order to survive difficult situations. A child who becomes overly independent may have learned that nobody was coming to help. A child who becomes anxious and clingy may have learned that love felt unpredictable. A child who becomes perfectionistic may have learned that mistakes led to rejection or criticism. These patterns are intelligent survival strategies, but survival strategies that protect you in childhood can quietly hurt you in adulthood. Imagine carrying an umbrella every single day because you once lived somewhere with constant storms. Then one day you move somewhere sunny, but you still cannot put the umbrella down. Your brain is still trying to protect you from old weather. That is what emotional patterns can feel like. And healing often begins with recognizing that your past is influencing your present. Not to blame your parents forever. Not to stay stuck in victimhood. But to finally understand yourself with compassion instead of shame. Compassion means treating yourself with understanding and kindness instead of harsh judgment. Many parents were carrying their own unresolved pain too. Some loved their children deeply, but never learned healthy emotional skills themselves. Some repeated what was done to them because it was all they knew. Understanding this does not erase your pain, but it helps explain why emotional wounds often pass from one generation to the next. The beautiful thing is that patterns can change. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means your brain can create new emotional pathways and new ways of responding over time. You are not permanently damaged because of your childhood, but healing usually requires experiences that teach your nervous system something different. Safe relationships help. Honest conversations help. Therapy can help. Self-awareness helps. Learning to notice your emotions instead of suppressing them helps. Even small moments matter. For example, maybe in the past you apologized every time someone was upset with you because conflict felt dangerous. But now, instead of panicking immediately, you pause, breathe, and remind yourself, someone being upset does not mean I am unlovable. That small moment is healing. Or maybe you grew up hiding your feelings because vulnerability felt unsafe. But one day you tell a trusted friend the truth about how you feel, and they respond with care instead of rejection. That moment teaches your nervous system a new story. Healing often happens quietly like this. Slowly, gently, through repetition. And one of the hardest parts of healing is grieving. Grieving means allowing yourself to feel sadness for what you did not receive. Some people never had emotional safety as children. Some never felt truly seen. Some became adults before they even had the chance to fully be children. That pain deserves acknowledgement. A lot of adults walk around pretending their childhood was not that bad because someone else had it worse. But pain is not a competition. If your emotional needs were consistently ignored, minimized, or dismissed, it affects you, especially when it happens during childhood, because children depend on connection for emotional survival. You deserved comfort. You deserved emotional safety. You deserved to feel valued without having to earn it. And the good news is this. Awareness alone can begin changing your relationships. The moment you stop automatically reacting and start observing your patterns, you create space for change. Instead of saying, "This is just how I am," you begin asking, "Where did I learn this?" That question can transform your life. Because many things you thought were personality traits are actually protection patterns. Maybe your fear of closeness is protection. Maybe your constant need for reassurance is protection. Maybe your perfectionism is protection. Maybe your emotional numbness is protection. And once you understand that, you stop hating yourself for surviving the best way you knew how. You begin meeting yourself with curiosity instead of shame. Curiosity means gently exploring your emotions instead of attacking yourself for having them. This is also why healthy love can sometimes feel unfamiliar at first. People often think healthy love should feel intensely exciting all the time. But if your nervous system grew up around emotional chaos, calm love may initially feel boring, uncomfortable, or even suspicious. Because your body became used to emotional highs and lows. Real emotional safety can feel strange when your body has spent years preparing for danger. But over time, safety becomes more familiar too. You learn that love does not have to hurt to be real. You learn that healthy communication is not weakness. You learn that boundaries are not rejection. Boundaries are healthy limits that protect your emotional well-being. You learn that someone can love you without controlling you. You learn that your needs do not make you difficult. And maybe most importantly, you learn that your past explains you, but it does not define your future. That is the part many people need to hear. Your childhood shaped you. It influenced your nervous system, your fears, your coping patterns, and your view of love. But human beings are capable of incredible change. The brain can heal. The body can learn safety. Relationships can become healthier. Patterns can be interrupted. And healing does not mean becoming perfect. It means becoming more aware, more compassionate with yourself, and more emotionally honest. Some days you will still get triggered. Some days old fears will return. That does not mean you failed. It simply means healing is a process, not a straight line. What matters is that now you can begin seeing yourself more clearly. You can begin understanding why love feels the way it does inside your body. And maybe for the first time, you can stop blaming yourself for wounds you never consciously chose. The child inside you adapted to survive. the adult inside you now gets the chance to heal. And that may be one of the most powerful things a person can do. So if this video made you see yourself differently or helped you understand your relationships in a deeper way, I hope you remember this tonight when your mind starts being hard on you. You are not broken. You are human. And many of the struggles you carry make sense once you understand where they came from. Healing takes patience, but every moment of self-awareness is already a step forward. And you do not have to do it perfectly to do it meaningfully. If you want more conversations like this about attachment, emotional healing, relationships, and the science of the human mind, subscribe and stay with us for the next video. You deserve love that feels safe, honest, and peaceful. Most importantly, you deserve to become that safe place for yourself too.